Done.
All right, just for those that are on, this is being recorded.
I'm excited that we'll hopefully get a few more participants before we begin.
I hope so. So I did, I had a request. I was at a meeting earlier today from somebody that was asking about crossovers. Now I know that PAC 66 doesn't typically do the crossover during the blue and gold, but they had an idea, and I'll bring that up during the meeting if you want. Other people can give their ideas as well for incorporating.
You mean like bridging or?
Yeah, bridging crossover. They're kind of the interchangeable name.
I'm writing this down so that when we get to the end, we circle back to it.
Okay.
I feel that last year went really well when we did that, but I'm kind of thinking it might be a little too much this year.
I think so. I mean, I have my own opinions on it. Like you said, we can talk about it later, and it's just an opinion for whether it's virtual or live. My opinion, I can see the benefits of both, but I feel like if you're doing them together, you're not able to focus on one or the other as much as I personally would like, but that's my own opinion. I'm not doing it, so.
Well, and what last year, I think one of our difficulties was the facilities, right? We originally had something set up, and then so we were like scrambling.
Yes.
Is the person that asked you on the Zoom yet? Or maybe we can also watch to see if they log on so that they hear the discussion.
He actually won't be logging into the Zoom.
Okay. Okay. Well, one little note for all of you that have logged on, thanks for joining us. And also we will try to send you out the notes and the slideshow since you registered for this. We will try to send along whatever it is that we're showing today so that you can have a copy for your own notes.
All right. Should we get started, or do you want to wait another minute or two?
I think let's go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Tina Williams, committee chair for PAC 66, and I have my party planner partner over there, Karen Harrett.
Hi, how you doing? Happy New Year, everybody.
She is fabulous, and she's also in PAC 66 with me. And of course, Joni Davidson, who has been in PAC 66 with me for quite some time. Thank you, ladies. Tonight, we're going to talk about the blue and gold, and I've made a little PowerPoint that I'll share on my screen with you in just a moment. If you have any questions, if you could type them in the chat, I'll keep the chat window open, and we can discuss those as we go along. So thank you for being with us tonight. Let me begin our slideshow. There we go. I hope you can see it. So we have our 2021 virtual blue and gold ideas. And as we go along today, maybe these are some ideas that you have already done in your PAC or your unit, and hopefully we can adapt them to now the virtual world. For some reason, my slide won't progress. There we go. All right. So Karen and I were discussing, and she came up with all these wonderful notes of some helpful steps. So first we were thinking to select your committee. Maybe there's another friendly parent or grandparent in your PAC who likes to party plan, and maybe they can help be on your committee for this. Decide on a format. Most likely people are going to be doing Zoom. Not sure if anyone chooses to do outdoors. Select a theme. In the past, we've seen themes like Legos and magic, animals, science. We can still adapt those themes this year, even though we are virtual. And then set up a program. You can see here I have an old program from our PAC that we did print and hand out to participants as they arrived. You can still do that virtually as well. And what it really helps, especially on Zoom, if you are limited to your Zoom time, you might want to add the times as you see on there. It really helps to keep things flowing. So with your program, you probably would benefit from having an introduction, gathering activity as people are logging onto Zoom, awards and recognition, meals and or dessert, entertainment, and then closing. So very similar to as we would do if we were in person, but here we are trying to make the best of it as we are doing it virtually. And as long as we have the will to do it, then I'm sure we all can have a successful blue and gold. Karen.
Yes, yes. So the big thing for us is, now you have set up your program, you've got your committee, put it all together. Now, how are you going to execute it? The first decision that you have to make after you've decided on your theme is what kind of budget do you have? You want to make sure that you double check with your PAC treasurer and to make sure that you know exactly what your guidelines are going to be. And then decide, with your theme, are you going to look at maybe delivering, arranging, the pickup of supplies? Are you going to provide a supply list? How are you going to execute getting all of the fun celebratory things that you had decided on? How are you going to get that out to people? Are you going to be the ones in charge of organizing it? Yes, but also in terms of how will you keep your audience engaged? You have all these creative ideas, but the key thing is to get some participation. Tina put on the notes here, making like a special blue and gold background for the Zoom. We have some blue and gold examples behind Tina and also behind Joni, but maybe there's an opportunity for you to get your scouts involved in creating a background for their own call, or for their own presence. So like we said, it's taking those creative ideas and turning them into something fun and interactive in like an online party celebration. And audience participation is the key. One of the things that we found doing our Zoom calls with our current PAC was that limiting the parent announcements or putting those maybe for like 10 minutes at the end or 10 minutes at the beginning, just trying to limit that time and focus more on the interactive items with the Cub Scouts or with the regular Scouts. You can get those wiggles out, you keep them engaged, and they typically, our Cub Scouts from our PAC have been on a Zoom call through school all day long. So, in the evening, sometimes it's a little difficult to keep them, sitting down and focusing on things. So you want to make sure that you find something that's going to be real interactive and engaging for them.
One tiny thing I'd like to add about delivering to scouts or having them pick up, you can make that fun as well. So delivering to scouts, so it's not overwhelming for one person, you can make up whatever it is that you're bundling it up, put it in a Ziploc bag, put the scout's name on it, so you know actually who came and who didn't, and it doesn't get accidentally mixed up. You can give it to the den leaders, ask them to spread it out. Or if you have a box outside your home or somewhere you can put it, you can give them a funny map or coordinates or something like that, so that the scouts can actually learn maybe about GPS, and then they could come find this box. I personally have done this at the end of my driveway and it went over really well. I just used the mapping system on my cell phone. I dropped an imaginary point in my driveway. I found out what the coordinates were, and then I sent that on to parents in our PAC. And I said, parents, if you could send this over to your scouts and show them how to use the GPS on a phone, it's not perfect. It's not like we're together using a compass, but at least it was something fun and an adventure. And so that's kind of an idea too. That way you don't have to be the one driving around all these supplies.
Well, and we will, in just a few minutes, go over some brainstorming activities and ideas for what you could deliver and what you can put together based on what your theme and what you decided to do with your budget.
Sorry, I saw some questions were popping up, but I couldn't see that on share screen. So thank you, Karen. Activity and entertainment ideas. You can do a gathering activity like we normally would in person, and you can have some entertainment time, especially like Karen was saying, to get those wiggles out for the scouts that are already on a lot of Zoom. Some interactive games that we thought of was Kahoot, Pictionary, Categories. You can see the list there. Balancing balloons. If you keep your items to blue and gold colors, that kind of goes with the theme. Maybe you can do a scavenger hunt. If you haven't already tried this at a PAC meeting, you make a list beforehand. It could be household items, it could be scout items, and then you call out the word fork, and then you let them go run, and they come back, and you clap for them as they grab a fork. And then next they have to get something red, and then they run and they come back, and anything to get them moving as if we were in person has been really well received by our PAC. So I would suggest doing something like that. Or you could say, we're going to have a scavenger hunt, and it'll be like the 6 essentials. And so they're like, oh no, where's my flashlight? And run, find a flashlight, come back. We did it a couple of months ago and everybody was laughing. I mean, one item was like toilet papers, run and then come back. And that was really amusing. Face painting, you can provide some little face painting, little crayon sticks. Like we were talking about, if you have a little kit that they can pick up, maybe give everybody one face painting stick. And maybe if they're a tiger, they can make stripes. And if they're a bear, maybe they can make a paw print or something like that. Glow sticks, flashlight dance party. Hey, they should have their 6 essentials, right? So maybe they could have a flashlight at the end, and you can, turn off your lights and make it like a strobe light party. You could build things with Legos. They could build something with Legos even in advance, and then they could show you like a scout themed like camp out or something. And then they build it with Legos. Kids love show and tell. So you could have a moment where they either sent you a photo, or right there on Zoom, you can ask them, show and tell time. We're each going to have a few seconds to look at what each person has. They're always so proud and so excited to share. Science experiments, you can do an experiment live, or you can tell them what supplies to have, and then you kind of do it together. Being prepared on that one also means some things may go wrong. So, think of that in advance too. They can make their own centerpieces. Karen has a bunch that she saved from last year because she was our planner last year for our biggest blue and gold ever. Oh, I'm sorry, Karen, you're on mute. Let me ask to unmute.
I am off of mute. I was just trying to make sure I could get this. This was just a mason jar. I don't know if you guys can see that. And we took some rocks and stuck it on the inside, put some sticks, and this is just tissue paper.
So just like we were meeting at a normal time, you can have them make the centerpieces. You can think of a theme and have them make the centerpieces. Maybe together you're each going to make s'mores. You can give them a list of ingredients beforehand, or you can baggie it up and label a Ziploc bag for each recipient. You can have them make a poster board, maybe to help with decorations at home. Maybe their poster board is part of the theme, or maybe their poster talks about the Scout Law. Karen had this great idea of a living tribute or a plant memory. So maybe you plant a tree and you say you're honoring the blue and gold this year, and then you watch how it grows in your yard. You can have a live performance by someone, be it music or art or science or something like that, so the kids could watch. One online idea that Joni had was a slideshow of the Scouts and their past activities. Kids love to see themselves. And so that way it takes the pressure off them. Some scouts, especially when they're younger, don't really want to talk in front of everyone else on Zoom, but maybe having a slideshow where they can see themselves in past moments, maybe they could watch that. And always, I like to add making slime. It's a wonderful gathering activity because you can just sit and play with it while others are getting on Zoom. You can add special things. One year we made clear slime and then we added bugs to it, and the kids just had a ball. We added flies and fake grasshoppers, and for fidgety kids, they'd love to just work on that as they're sitting there. So those are some ideas. You probably have other great ideas. Those are some that we came up with.
We also kind of were really brainstorming this year on, because normally in our normal in-person celebration, we would typically celebrate by putting together a meal and then having entertainment and then doing, I know we've talked about the Friends of Scouting, and unfortunately, we're not going to be doing that this year. So, you know, and then typically finish with dessert. So we kind of put our heads together to kind of come up with some ideas, you know, how the Scouts, it can be still kind of a celebratory party. You have lots of different activities, but how do you do the meals, you know? And we just kind of came up with maybe hunting down blue and gold foods, you know? Everybody could make mac and cheese and drink blue Gatorade, you know, or I don't know if you can deliver a box and 4 Gatorades to a family, or, you know, there's ways that you can use food coloring in many different foods, you know, with deviled eggs, etc. I know obviously you know, in the past, I've dealt with birthday parties just in the last year where parents have come and delivered cupcakes. So we thought, okay, themed cupcakes, you know, with blue and gold, and maybe deliver those with candles to each one of the Scouts, you know. Or if you have the understanding, you could put together the makings or the ingredients of the cupcakes and I don't know how much time, but maybe they could make it on their own and videotape it or something like that. Another option was, of course, Jell-O. There's always blue Jell-O that can be found, and food coloring and Cool Whip and other toppings. Jell-O, we did one year where we, you know, made the Jell-O in little plastic clear cups, and we stuck gummy worms and Swedish fish and stuck a little popsicle stick with a string and turned it into a fishing pole. And the kids were really, you know, thrilled at that and fishing in their Jell-O for that. So another idea, you know, last year we did an in-person ice cream social. So I don't know how it would be pretty difficult to deliver ice cream, but maybe the Scout buys their own ice cream and you provide the toppings, or, you know, blue and gold sprinkles or something to that effect. And there's also the trusty popcorn basket or popcorn bucket, where I'm sure all of us have plenty of microwave popcorn we could help with delivering, and maybe some fun toppings and putting it in like a gold bucket or something, or a blue bucket, you know, to kind of stay within the theme. Another idea we had was delivering like a dinner party basket. That's where maybe, you know, we would normally, with our in-person, do something special with, you know, plates and napkins, or it's real inexpensive to go to the dollar store and get a roll of streamers. Here's an example I found on Amazon. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I found an actual gold plate, sparkly gold plate and service. And then you have blue and gold spoons. You know, you could put together like a little dinner basket that you could deliver to each one of the Scouts, and then they could all have the celebratory, you know, type picnic basket there. I think also, Tina, didn't you have a picture? I think you may see it maybe on the next slide, but it was about a Scout napkin holder. Is that right? So there's fun, creative things. You could take your spoons or your forks or whatever, and put them in a little Cub Scout, napkin holder and deliver those, and just something to make the Scouts feel like they're still in the party mode. So you could have the Scouts take that dinner party basket and set their own table. I think that was part of one of their what do you call it? The achievements. Yes, not elective. I'm sorry. Achievement to put together, to actually cook a meal for your family or for your den. So that would be something they could actually set the table with and make their macaroni and cheese and blue Gatorade. Another option was to have the Scouts make some of their decorations, and that kind of goes back to making their own centerpieces, or maybe you provide them with the sticks and stars that has all of the items of the Scout law and the Scout oath, and they just put them on popsicle sticks and set them in a centerpiece, something to that effect. We also talked about, there are pretty inexpensive ways to do a blue and gold donuts, something to that effect, and so on. So is there anything you have to add, Tina?
Well, just like you already alluded to, this is fun with a purpose. So participating in this also helps them towards their rank advancement. So many of the adventures, like Karen said, are related to cooking, food prep, service at home, building items, doing science, doing art, doing magic. So we want to really encourage the Scouts to be prepared for this fun celebration by working on their items in advance if we're giving them a list. That way it's a nice, smooth evening. Of course, the scavenger hunt is like on the spot. But if we are planning for this, just like you would normally plan a party, it's helpful to, give them some information beforehand. So for planning for your success, I would just recommend that you explain all of this to your participants in advance and let them know kind of what it is that you're going to be doing or what they need to have if it is something that you're not going to be providing for them. I would also be sure that you thank everyone for participating, just like having a birthday party at home. You would say, thank you for coming to our party. Thank you for being our guest. And just one tiny idea is maybe for a closing song, sing the happy birthday song, since it is the birth of Scouting. And like we talked about before, having flashlights or candles, maybe you can turn off your light and sing with your candles and flashlights at home, just to make it kind of neat. So that is all that we have, and hopefully it wasn't too overwhelming. We are more than happy to share all those details with you, but that is what we have come up with for planning a virtual blue and gold. We could take a look at the chat and see if we have some questions to answer. Will we need to set aside time for FOS? What types of supplies are you putting together? What are they for? So this year we do not need to set aside time for FOS. The contributions made to FOS were part of your council dues. So if people want to make an extra donation, that is always welcome. What type of supplies? Well, that's up to the unit. You can put in supplies that are specific for your theme. Like Karen said, having streamers in there from the dollar store, or having a candle or two, or blue and gold sprinkles, inexpensive items that can be really fun and make the time at home special. So depending on what you choose, last year I saw pictures online that Scouts did a blue and gold that was Lego themed, and I thought that was really neat. And so they made their own with their Legos at home, but then maybe you supplied a topper for their cupcake. Maybe it's just made out of paper and you printed out a little Lego, maybe in a Scout uniform, and you hot glued it on a toothpick. Do you know what I'm talking about? A cupcake topper. You stuck that in it. That would just be darling. So maybe something like that. Those are not questions from Eric. Those are questions from Joni. I had to look for a moment and say, oh, well, thank you, Eric, for submitting. Thank you, Joni. Next question, Erica. There will be no FOS. Oh, thank you. In presentations, we replaced it by the activity fee. Yes, thank you. Another question, maybe have them set the dinner table decorated with blue and gold centerpieces, etc., and show it off.
Sorry, that
Exactly.
was on
the same page.
That was on the next slide. Sorry.
I remember Karen and I have sons that are in the same den, and I think they were tigers. And a couple years ago, we had them over to my house. I set the table, we put candles out, I used wine glasses. Karen cooked something. I had them pour the Martinelli's sparkling cider. The kids were so excited. They thought it was like such a special meal, and it was just darling. So yes, having that special moment. I love tablecloths. So I will probably put a gold tablecloth on the table that night, and maybe even like a blue table runner. I love that. At my house, my kids know that I love tablecloths. But if it's not your thing, totally fine. The last picture had a little kind of pocket that you put your fork and spoon in. But I was even thinking while Karen was talking that, wouldn't it be darling if we rolled up the napkin and somehow printed a little tiny neckerchief, and that was our napkin ring? Would that not be the cutest thing? So you can just think of all different types of ideas just to make it fun, make it something different, so they really feel a part of it at home. So I would love to hear any other questions or comments if you guys want to take yourselves off mute. I see Lori shaking her head and smiling, so that makes me really happy. And Chad, thanks.
You guys have, those are good ideas. It's, to be honest, until that email came today about this, I totally spaced on blue and gold. I am just not thinking in a normal year at all. So this is exciting to actually, I think the adults can start brainstorming, and we need something new and different to be grasping onto, because it's like trying to make it exciting. The regular stuff is getting old. And we had a 2-week break. So, what am I complaining about?
We understand for sure.
Yeah, hi, this is Chad. So I'm a den leader with Pack 331. Also, I work with Troop 312 as an ASM. I have 8 boys that are going to be crossing over. So one of the things that we were thinking of is, trying to keep everybody maybe in a parking lot and outside, but at least have them walk over the bridge and do some sort of in-person ceremony where they get to meet the receiving troops. We'll try to keep, everybody as far away as possible, but I kind of feel like at least knowing who, and being able to meet and say hi face to face is something that's nice for the boys. But just doing that and taking pictures and filming it so that we can then put together some kind of a montage for the actual blue and gold, ceremony. So that's something we're kind of thinking about. We have to work through the details of how to do that safely. So anyhow.
So actually, Chad, I was going to bring that up. I heard somebody was talking to me today that what they are doing is a couple of days before their blue and gold, they're having their crossover with just the AOLs.
Yes.
And they're recording it all, and then they're going to show the video at the blue and gold. So on the Zoom call. So that helps with that helps keep the numbers down, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah, we were thinking about doing that as well. Like maybe so our blue and gold, I think, is Feb 20, and I was thinking maybe on Feb 6, we might just get, keep the eight kids each in their own cars, but then one at a time go over the bridge. I've also ordered like a plaque with an arrow, so they'll have like all of that, like the award and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, being able to video that, and then because there's one aspect of it, which is the boys who are crossing over and being able to connect with the troop, and there's this other aspect, which is the younger boys being able to see that and know what's coming and have something to to work towards and look up to, and so that being able to share that back into the pack is nice too.
Agreed. I just wanted to mention that before they bridge and cross over, you feel like you've had enough time to get all of their achievements done?
Yes.
Okay. You had your date, so that's awesome. I just was thinking you have like 1 month left. Sure.
Yeah. We started cracking the whip in September.
Okay.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the video and having photos would be really nice, and everyone can watch it, and those that participated in it will be so happy to see themselves.
Yep.
Maybe while you're outside, if anyone is crafty, maybe you can like all wear pack masks or something like that. Or I made gaiters for my son and the troop that went to summer camp, and I ironed on numbers on the side of their face gaiter, and it said 356. And
Okay.
so he's in troop 356. So that might be something, and it's not necessary.
Yep. Yep.
You can even do a paper one, right? And just marker on it if you want to do that. But it might make it a little more jazzed up, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this kind of weather, they'll be cold, so you may not see their uniforms. But I love, you know, making things kind of jazzed up and personalized, and it'll hopefully
I liked a lot of the ideas around, because I've been thinking, just as the den leader, I've been thinking specifically about the crossover piece. But I love all the ideas around bringing in the colors into people's homes, you know, having some food items, anything, and certainly moving a lot. I have 4 kids and they need to move a lot.
One of the things I just thought of, you were saying that you had a den of boys crossing over, and now that we have girls, we could also pick out blue and yellow flowers. So maybe like for girl dens or families that are at home and they have girl participants, maybe they can have yellow flowers and blue flowers or blue little things decorated. So we can cater it to both the boys and the girls and make everyone feel special.
Yeah, and you could incorporate that with the idea of the planting, the living memorial. You could plant like some pansies. Yeah.
Or yellow sunflowers or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. Any other questions? Or I'm totally open for comments. I also want to be sure that if 30 minutes, we're over 30 minutes now, is past your limit of time because you have something else going on, I totally understand as well. We're good. You guys, I'm excited for Blue and Gold. It feels good to do those routine things, even though it's a little bit different. I just look forward to it. Any reason to celebrate.
Definitely.
Awesome. Any questions from Erica? If you want to chat or anything, let us know. And then we should probably be wrapped up in a couple seconds.
And I don't have anything to add or ask.
Okay, just want to be sure that if you had anything we wanted to address.
All good ideas.
Awesome. Thanks for being here with us tonight.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Well, Tina and Karen, thank you so much for doing this. We
Of course,
appreciate it.
happy to.
Everybody have a great Blue and Gold.
And you are recording it in, where is it going to show up?
It should show up on the website, the Mount Baker website.
Yeah, and is it the Scouting from Home area that we go to find these things? I don't know
Yeah,
where.
you know, that's the intent. This, hopefully, if I did it right, will be the first one that's been recorded.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so the intent is for it to be at the Scouting at Home portion of the website.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for attending.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.